Then, having a winner's mindset. How many of you have seen Bahubali? I'm sure. Everyone? Or okay. So I really enjoyed the movie, and it seemed like really, even though it's fantasy and whatnot, it was really well done. So as an entrepreneur, there's a lot you can learn from this movie as well. So having a winner's mindset means it's not your current state, it's your future state. But you have to keep faith in your core vision. You go back to your vision whenever things go wrong. If you have a big crisis in your company, go back to that vision. What are you doing that you may be deviating far from that vision, and that's why there is a crisis? That's very likely. And always raise your bar of your next milestone, of your next win. Then, along with having a winner's mindset, you need to also be truth-seeking. And this is the opposite. You need to appreciate good competitors. You need to actively deflate your ego. As an entrepreneur, as a founder, you may not get a lot of criticism coming at you directly. You may have more people agreeing with you, but then you have to actively start seeking disagreement, actively start seeking criticism, and let go of your ego. This takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of your mental and psychological energy, but trust me, it's worth it. And when you look at your competition, you may always be tempted. I think I heard the word comfort zone a lot earlier today. You may think that, no, we don't have that problem, or they're not that good, or something like that. But you need to understand the strengths, recognize the strengths of your competition, recognize their weaknesses as well, and the opportunities you have and the threats that you face. Now, this is a typical SWOT analysis that a lot of people do, but you have to be true and honest when you're doing this. You can have a lot of biases when you're doing a SWOT analysis, which will just cloud your judgment, and you'll make a nice slide that you can feel good about. But you have to judge how honest are you about it. Only then something like this will work. So both these things about having a winner's mindset and being truth-seeking is about holding contradictions in your mind. You have to think that currently I'm nothing yet. There's a long way to go. At the same time, you have to think like a winner, that I'm going to succeed. This team, this company is going to do great things. And that this duality is something you should develop in your entire team, not just yourself. And finally, execution and professionalism. It's great to have a lot of good ideas, big dreams, and look at a lot of typical poster boys in the startup world. But what's not seen is the execution and professionalism. This is the invisible stuff. It is the day-to-day habits that you inculcate in yourself, in your team. Something like, I think I've just borrowed a Google image here from an infographic, but there are aspects like communication, character, comfort, conduct. That is interesting. When you look at what is being ethical and being street smart, are you doing all of that in the right proportions? Are you taking shortcuts? You need to be asking yourself these questions. I think for the last many decades, or especially post-independence, India has been plagued by a tendency of jugaad, and I am really against that. I think that is not our culture. It's just a symptom of being an oppressed society, that when we have to start looking at shortcuts. But now the time has come to let go of that. When you're running your business, are you looking at your compliances? Are you looking at your certifications and all your hygiene stuff, and giving that enough seriousness? Because if you don't, it's going to bite you later on, and then you may not know what hit you, right? So this execution and professionalism is extremely important, even when it comes to results and outcomes. Earlier in the panel, I heard a lot about being profitable, or sort of long-term profitability and things like that. Yes, there are different animals when you look at different kinds of startups. Some bring in money much later, and some sooner than others. But you should have an eye on your cash flows, at least, and make sure that you define your results and you're hitting those milestones. So that requires some discipline. You make some plan, your annual operating plan, keep it printed out, don't keep it editable. And then you have to look back, how much have you deviated from it? This is very basic stuff, but it's very easy not to do it as well. So just these are the 5 main areas, I would say, in terms of having a disruptive entrepreneurial venture and creating opportunities out of that. So just to sum it up, I'll take you through courageous vision, meaningful purpose, winner's mindset, truth-seeking, and relentless execution. So that's all I have, and I'd like to take up questions. Thank you.
I think you are Baba Kalyani's grandson. You
His
had
nephew.
Nephew, okay. But you had all ecosystem available in that, and that is making you as an entrepreneur. See, in the morning, Dr. Venugopal said that okay, one generation makes, second generation destroys. You are a third generation person.
So what is the question? I didn't understand.
The ecosystem available to you.
So the question is really, Dr. Velamani said, being in poverty made him create that wealth. Now, there's something opposite for you. You already have something built on which you are trying to build. So does that make you any complacent, or does it make you strive?
Okay, that's a good question, actually. So Kalyani Studio is an independent company. It's not funded by any of the existing businesses, and so in that sense, that's a deliberate decision I took, not to depend on the existing family businesses. But I guess with whatever you have to set your sights that much higher, and you got to challenge yourself. You cannot, you have to really sort of be very critical about, are you making an impact or not? So that's how I would see it.
Fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, mic to Dr. Velamani.
I'm not going to ask an additional question, but I wanted to answer to his question. Whenever people are successful, the outcome is going to be of 3 kinds. Next generation. 90% of the time, because the father is rich, the stamina is lost. Rich don't have stamina, and stamina cannot have money. These two are supposed to be different. If somebody is rich and have stamina, he is a Khatarnak concoction. Having said that, 90% of the time they lose what father has made. 9% of the time it is managed. Where father made a 6,000 crore or 10,000 crore, the son has not lost it, the son has not made it any big, but he has managed to maintain. Only 1% of the situation, the next generation adds more zeros than the father added. It's a very rare. So all the 3 combinations are there. I wish that you are a 3rd category. Good luck.
Thank you.
Any last question? Yes, Paritosh. Mike, Paritosh.
So great presentation. So just to understand Kalyani Studio a little better, you said you work on strength of materials, right?
Yes.
So do you have a lab here, or how do you work?
Yes, we have a studio in Pune.
Okay.
And it's currently we are about 15 engineers and from various disciplines. We work with a combination of software, like analysis software, CATIA, ANSYS, things like that, as well as hard prototyping. And we have an ecosystem of vendors that we are developing as well. So in the end, we have to get you that outcome in terms of suppose you have a gear system, a transmission system in your vehicle, you want to improve the torque ratio by 10x. So that's something that excites us, and we would work on that.
Very cool. And based in Pune?
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Big round of applause for Viraj Kalyani.